Welcome to Zero Credibility Sports. I'm joined today with Justin. What's up?
Hello.
Yo. So the NBA regular season's wrapped up just a few hours ago. The NBA prediction little race thing that we had between me, you, and somebody that you both used to know.
I don't know. This is a beef that I'm not getting into, man. This is between you and him. No, I'm not involved. I'm just innocent bystander.
There's no
innocent
beef.
bystander.
There is no fucking beef, but okay. It's all good.
Beef's
He just
real.
made the results today. And guess what? Would you believe if I told you that we were tied? Me and you were tied?
I wouldn't believe it because I thought that I'd be number one, as I usually do.
Anyways, the real story of the tape was that I was leading throughout the whole season, and then came the last quarter. I gotta give it to Justin. He pulled up a clutch moment to draw on level with me, and I made a few mistakes, obviously. And I'll get you next season.
This is one of those things where, we said it at the start of the season, and it didn't change anything. So it's not really, it's just whatever.
Shh. Don't steal my thunder. All right. Shh. Anyways, let's start. Okay, so regular season's wrapped up. Let's start with the Eastern Conference picture. Let's go with the first four. So it's finished with Bucks as the leader in the first seed, Raptors in second, 76ers in third, and Celtics in fourth. Any surprises?
Celtics, I think. I think that's the biggest surprise. How poorly they did, and how, at the start, at the early parts of the season, I think everybody was sort of saying that they'd be at least top three, and then they were struggling in the early parts of the season. Everyone said it's just a matter of getting used to Gordon Hayward coming back, Kyrie Irving reintegrating everybody into a team, blah blah blah, and then they, for whatever reasons, haven't put it together. And then in the past, to close out the season as well, I know they've had bad runs throughout the whole year, but to close out the season as well, at a time when you think you're becoming strong, they've had a bad run as well. So yeah, pretty disappointing. I think that's the biggest surprise out of the top four.
Yeah, agreed. I think Philly came out strong, Raptors came out strong, but I think for me, I think I'm surprised that the Milwaukee Bucks came up as the first seed, but after ever since the start of the season, the team seemed fit as a good regular season team. Now it's time to see whether they'll show up in the playoffs. So before we continue any further, let's go to the rest of the table. Pacers in fifth, Nets in sixth, the sixth seed, Orlando Magic in the seventh seed, and Pistons in the eighth seed. Who are the surprises there? Who are the surprises in the playoffs?
I think for me, probably, I think it's more who. Nets, obviously. I think Nets is a big one.
Yeah.
Nets and Magic for me.
Agreed.
And also, I think the surprise is more on who didn't make it.
Yeah.
And I thought Washington would have made it, but they didn't.
Despite the beef they had, with despite all the trade commotions at the start of the season, I think after that, I think it's a given that they were not going to make it, in my personal opinion.
At the start of the season is why I thought they make it.
Yeah. After hearing the news about they were planning to trade everyone.
Over the course of the season, stuff happened. It turned out that. Yeah, sorry, you go.
Hornets should have snuck in. I thought the Hornets should have stuck in because of Kemba had a fire start to the season, and he actually had a fire throughout. A fire season throughout. But I think he just didn't have enough support. Didn't have enough extra pieces. Jeremy Lamb had highlights, but I think it just wasn't enough compared to the Pistons had Drummond and fuck his name, Blake. Nets actually have like quite a strong core. Besides D'Lo, they had like Dinwiddie, and they just had like a young talented core. But for me, the biggest like surprise is the Orlando Magic. Like I haven't seen a single game with them involved, and I'm just like surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that they finished last in the conference. But I mean, just coming back to, I guess, Brooklyn, I definitely think that this team overachieves, has overachieved, and it's really just off the back of D'Angelo Russell, who's made the jump this year. I think no one can deny that he's made the jump this year to become. I don't know if superstar is the right word, but he's definitely the leader of that team, and he's definitely the best player on that team, and he's definitely become the player that, he's the scoring threat. He's the number one.
He's the guy.
He's the number one guy, and like he's a guy who we need a guy to win us the game. Like he's the guy to do it, and he's definitely stepped into that role and taken leadership and ownership of this team on the court. So I think the reason that the Nets made it is almost completely down to him. If not, I don't think this team will make will make the top 8. Just looking at the team now, I mean they have some decent players, but I mean, let's put it this way: if you to field this team in 2K without D'Angelo Russell, like these players are all in their 70s, like they're rated in their 70s, right?
Yeah,
like
you don't want to play them. You don't really want to play
they're not great players.
Ice in my veins, why would you want to play them? Like why would you even select Brooklyn Nets?
I mean, sure, but yeah, and then Kemba. I have a soft spot for Kemba Walker. I don't really know why, to be honest, but
it's because he's small, man. He's small.
I mean, not really. I mean, he's not really that much smaller than any of the other top players these days. But it's just I don't know why, for whatever reason. I think because he's a player that I've sort of seen over the years. And maybe his name has stuck in my brain or whatever. So I always looked out for him, looked at how he was going. And I remember at the start of his career, he was seen as a player that was obviously very talented, but I think he had issues with shot selection. He had issues with efficiency, and he was very careless with the ball.
Yeah, but I think he's been steadily improving, right, over the last 2 seasons, especially. And this season,
it's not over the past 2 seasons. It's over the course of his entire NBA career. Pretty much every year he's made a slow improvement. And partially it's because he's gotten better teammates around him in the past few years. That's definitely for sure. But also partially it's because he's obviously worked on his game and improved a lot. So I know some people still question his efficiency, and I know some people still question his ball handling, i.e. his turnover rate. But sometimes those sort of things, for me especially, I think shot efficiency you can put down sometimes to things like, is the team around him good enough to enable him to have great shot efficiency, even though he's improved on that aspect by leaps and bounds over the past 5 years. So that was a big tangent, but the reason I'm talking about Kemba Walker is that he's missing the playoffs this year, and he's becoming an unrestricted free agent this year.
Yeah, no, a lot of people, are tapping him up or like touting him to be a very good third option for a team, like to be like the third guy in the trifecta or the 3-man squad kind of thing. So, and I think
these days to win the championship, you need 3 superstars. These days.
Yeah, and everyone is like touting him to be a third option for a lot of these super team combinations, and I can see why. I think he's got the character, he's got the attitude. He has the the responsibility to take on a role, like a leadership role of some sort. So, which is I think it'll be interesting to see what happens to him. I have a feeling he won't leave though, so we'll see. I think
he will. Look, he's been at Charlotte / New Orleans, his entire career.
Yeah.
So, and he's only made the playoffs. Has he even made the playoffs?
No, he hasn't. He's been there since.
So he's made the playoffs twice. He made it in 2014 and 2016, right? Both times they were bounced, I think, in the first round.
Yeah.
But like this is a guy. Let's not forget he was selected to his first All-Star game this year, right?
Yep.
He's been in the league. What? He's drafted in 2011, so it's been only 8 years, right? Like I think he's a guy. If he has career ambitions, right, to win something or to do something, he's gonna have to move. And I think right now his stock has never been higher.
Yeah.
Like his stock has never been higher, right?
Yeah.
So it's all down to, like, if he wants to win, I think he has to go, because I don't think that the Hornets will be able to put together a good enough team around him for them to be contenders anytime soon.
Fair enough. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I think that aside, let's focus on the teams that are in the playoffs then. So what about the rest of, like, shall we go through the Western Conference now?
Yep, sure. Oh, actually, why don't we just go through like Eastern Conference and just tell me like who will make the finals?
Okay. I think
so.
Let's
look,
just run through.
Okay, Milwaukee, Detroit.
Yeah, Milwaukee, Detroit. I think Milwaukee. I think it'll be 4-1 for Milwaukee. Then let's go to, what about you?
I don't know, but I think it'll be comfortable. Yeah, it could be a sweep. It could be 4-1.
Yeah,
I think it'll be comfortable.
I think Boston and Pacers, that would be a very good game. I think that like the Pacers will give Boston a bit of trouble. I think this could go 7 games, maybe 6.
I agree.
Yeah. You're just not convinced, right? I don't think like the whole season you've been like convinced that Boston have like, shown the quality to show up in big moments. I mean, yeah, they beat like the 76ers.
Who's going to win?
I think Celtics will win, but I think it will be like a real tight, like not convincing type of win,
Yeah, like a 4-3.
Like 4-3, maybe 4-2, but like the games are real tight. I think 4-2. Then to the Celtics, and I think, okay, let's go Philly, Brooklyn. Oh, I think as much as I like D'Lo and stuff, I think it would be
Sixers got it easy.
Yeah. I'll give Brooklyn 1 game. They'll win 1 game in Brooklyn, I reckon. So 4-1 to Philly. Then Toronto, Orlando. I think it's a Toronto sweep.
Yep, I'd say so as well.
Yeah, they're too strong at home, and I just think Kawhi has like a playoff switch, and yeah, they'll just end Orlando. So then, do you want to try to like predict the second round?
So second round, then you'd have Milwaukee. I guess the conference semi. In the conference semi, you've had the Bucks against the Celtics.
Yeah. And then you have Philly against Toronto.
And then Sixers against the Raptors. So essentially, you have the top 4.
Yeah, let's go. So you're going to go Bucks and Celtics? Who's your pick? I'll let you pick first, man.
I mean, honestly, it's easy to say Bucks, right? But
I don't know, man. I think
so like this top part of the bracket, right?
Yeah.
So you know how you were talking about Celtics Pacers, right? I can actually see the Pacers
coming through.
But if the Pacers play the Bucks will definitely win.
Yes, I agree. I know. But I think I'm on the same boat with you.
If the Celtics come through and play the Bucks in the semi,
Brad Stevens has some secret
I can see the Celtics pulling it out.
I agree. No, I fucking agree with you. I think like if the Celtics are going to make the finals, it's going to be like every round of the playoffs is going to be close to 7 games or a 6-game series. Because I feel like they like to make things hard for themselves. And yeah, I think Brad Stevens got that secret sauce for the Milwaukee Bucks. And he has like, and we haven't seen Giannis. Yeah, sorry, I keep saying Giannis turn up in the playoffs yet, right? So I think, who knows, man? Like I feel Brad Stevens will make it super hard for him to turn up. And yeah, I think Celtics will pull through. In my personal opinion, I think 7 games. Celtics will pull through in the Bucks home stadium on the 7th game?
Well, I think the reason I say that is because I'm not convinced, and I've been saying this the whole season. Although the Bucks are doing very well, I'm not convinced that they'll be able to do as well as their position implies in the playoffs, because they lack pedigree on that team. They lack playoff experience on that team. And that team is being led by a player who is, don't get me wrong, is a superstar MVP candidate, but lacks playoff experience. So I'm a bit cautious to, it's very easy to say, all right, Bucks will win first round, like Bucks will win first round, Bucks will win the semis, Bucks will go to the finals.
Yeah,
but
of course.
I don't really think that it's that straightforward.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think people forget that, Jason Tatum carried a very weak, you could argue a very weak Celtics team to the final of the Eastern Conference last year. And yeah, so
it's different though, because some people are blaming the fact that Kyrie is in this team, that the Celtics are not doing as well as they were last season. Yeah. So the thing about, I remember I spoke a few weeks ago about in Celtics, it's something to do with the chemistry of the players. Yeah. It's not really like that there's an issue in terms of like they're not good enough, because I think everyone can agree that team is good enough. Mm-hmm. Right? Like if you look at them individually, player for player, it's a good team, right? Mm. But I think there's a chemistry issue, and there's an issue where maybe the players don't really know how to play with each other, or maybe the players don't like each other or something. I don't know what it is. But if they can somehow find it within their team to work it out and just tough it out for the playoffs, I can see this team going far. Now, that's a very, very, very big if.
Yeah, no, I feel like, if the Boston Celtics crawl through the Indiana Pacers, they have a tough series, right? Who knows, man? They might kick into playoff gear, which they did last year. I know it's a bit different now they have Kyrie in it, but you might get you might get all the players on the same page, and they could pull off something. And this is where you kind of really test Brad Stevens, right? Because now he's in kind of like the make or break moment, right? You got your superstar back. You got both superstars back. Both had a season under their belt. You can argue that maybe Gordon Hayward is still.
Who's the other superstar?
Gordon. You could argue that Gordon.
I don't think Gordon's even close to. I don't think anyone has mentioned being a superstar. I don't think he's even close to being a superstar.
He was touted to be, but I think after that injury.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he was ever touted to be a superstar.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess we're just waiting to see whether it'll work. Whether with all these pieces, Brad Stevens could muster something special. And I think they can, in terms of beating the Milwaukee Bucks. I think that's what they'll do, in my opinion. And so are you standing? You could see it happen, but what's your prediction?
So see, my prediction then really, really depends on what happens in Boston Pacers, like between Celtics and Pacers in first round. Because I think that if the Pacers win, if the Pacers beat the Celtics, right, in the first round, if the Pacers beat the Celtics first round, then the Bucks will make it to the NBA final, to the Eastern Conference final.
Yeah, I agree with you. Mine's the same position like you.
But I think if the Celtics make it, if I was a betting man, and I had to put money today, I'd put money on the Celtics making it to the final.
I'm the same. Eastern Conference final, right?
Yep, Eastern Conference final.
Yep. Okay. Let's move on to the other two. Sorry.
Yep. So you've got the Sixers and the Nets, and you've got the Raptors and the Magic. I think we can all agree.
Yeah,
it's going to be between the Sixers and the Raptors, right?
Made that prediction.
So who can win over 7 games? That's what we're saying.
Yeah. So Philly and Raptors. Whoa, this is tough, man. I'm gonna go Raptors. Raptors are going to the Eastern Conference final.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Sixers.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's really up to the team will go as far as Joel Embiid wants to take them. And I think last season, the 76ers got knocked out by the Celtics. And a lot of it was due to inexperience. It was their first time. And a lot of people were questioning whether, the 76ers coach was ready for playoff ready in terms of his coaching experience. So do you think he's ready?
I mean, I don't know if I buy so much into that. But what I will say is that the reason that I picked the Sixers and it's close, it'll be over 7 games. I'll say that, right? Like it'll go the full series. I think it's because I think that the Sixers have more weapons to win the game, in the sense that they have Embiid, they have Simmons, and they have Jimmy Butler. Yeah. And some would even put, look, they also have Tobias Harris. Yeah. So they just have, if one of their players isn't having a good game, they have other options. They have other options. Yeah. But with the Raptors, although the Raptors are not a one-man team to the extent that, if Kawhi's not having a good game, the Raptors lose. No, the Raptors are not like that, for sure.
Siakam has turned up this year.
But I just think over the course of, a 7-game series in the playoffs, I think you would need Kawhi to play at his highest level. And I think that you probably, you can't expect someone to play, at their very peak for every single game. Like they'll have one off game or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the 70. If you check, I'm pretty sure the 76ers only beat the Raptors once out of 4 games. But I mean, this is before all the trades. I mean, the last game they played together, I think it was like they had Jimmy, but they didn't have Tobias Harris. And to be honest, I haven't been following the 76ers ever since they got Tobias. So I'm not sure how important he has been for them. But yeah, I just think Toronto has a good starting 5 and good 6-man and Danny Green. I think, and also I'm banking on Kawhi Leonard's X factor in terms of his playoff X factor to pull him through, and his experience especially. And I think this is a tight one. I personally think this is a tight one, and I agree with your sentiment that the 76ers definitely have more weapons if you look at compare both pictures. But I think in terms of the best the best player, I think Toronto wins in terms of Kawhi, or a peak Kawhi compared to Joel Embiid. I know Joel Embiid will be better. Maybe I think will be better than Kawhi in the future. But right now, I think Kawhi is just he's just better. So, and I think this is a game where both teams are real neck and neck. But I think this is where if you have the better player, this is where you pull through, in my personal opinion. So I think Toronto in 7, maybe even 6.
Yeah, I'd say Sixers in Sixers in 7 games. I think the one thing that, so I was also gonna say, look, the Raptors hit, let's not forget last season they finished top, and they were bounced. They were bounced fairly quickly. By
LeBron.
Yes, so the question marks over again. The pedigree of the team, right? Because it was a fairly inexperienced team going to the playoffs, and that was the second time that it happened. So, players like Kyle Lowry, at the time DeMar DeRozan, those are the 2 star players of that team, right? Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. Now that DeMar DeRozan's gone and Kawhi Leonard's in there, Kawhi Leonard definitely brings a whole heap of experience, and a whole heap of playoff know-how to this team. Don't forget, they also traded away Valanciunas and brought Marcus Gasol as well. Mm-hmm. So these are experienced players who have navigated this, this sort of second part of the season, so to speak.
Yeah.
So maybe they can do it, but again, I think I'm not sure. I'd choose the Sixers over the Raptors, and that means my Eastern Conference final would be the Celtics and the Sixers.
Okay, mine would be the Celtics and the Raptors, and then I think the question goes basically who's going to the NBA Finals from the Eastern Conference from your side.
I'd choose the Sixers.
Okay. Oh, this is tough for me, man. Fuck. I have a feeling. You know what? I'm gonna put some money. If you want to make a bet, I'm down to make a bet that I think the Raptors are going to the NBA Finals this year.
I mean, you can make that bet. I don't think they will, though. I don't think they will.
Let's make a bet. $5?
Sure.
$5?
Yeah, sure.
Seal it and deal it. Let's go.
All right, West
Side, baby. So I think no surprise. Golden State Warriors finished on top.
I mean, we can just forget it. Yeah, I mean,
that's like, fuck that shit.
Yeah, just forget that,
Big surprise. Big surprise. Do you think Nuggets finished second?
Not. I mean, maybe a surprise in terms of how high up.
Yeah, how high up? No. I think that's we're on the same page there. But I think I mean,
although I'm gonna say in my thing, I predicted them to finish third, so they finished second. So just saying.
Portland third.
Yeah, I know. Like that one as well.
You were big on Portland. You were big on Portland at the start.
I definitely was not big on Portland at the start.
No, you were big that they'll make the top 8. I didn't even put them in the top 8 at the end of the season to finish.
Oh well, I squeezed them in at number 8.
Yeah, true. The Rockets fourth. I think that's the biggest surprise, right?
Yeah, well, I think they were sort of destroyed by their weak, like mid to early mid season, like when they had that really bad run of form, when Chris Paul went down, Eric Gordon went down, and that was around the time they sort of like slightly tweaked their game plan to just put the ball in James Harden's hands the whole time, and that sort of started to work, and then they've just risen up all the way. Like, let's not forget, at one point, I think they were like 10th in the conference or something. At one point,
yes, they were 10th. Yes, and then I think it's a real testament to what James Harden has done for the team, like to pull them where they are today. I think it was real tight. I thought they were going to finish third. Then Trailblazers were trailing behind in their final match against the Sacramento Kings, but they had like a fourth quarter comeback. I
mean, who cares? Doesn't matter. Like they're in the playoffs regardless whether they win or lose that game.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like now it means the Rockets face the Warriors in the second round of the playoffs instead of like the final,
I think if you're a Rockets fan, you're gonna face Golden State anyway. Like,
yeah, true.
At some point, if you're playing the West, you're gonna face Golden State.
Makes a difference, I think. Like where you face them kind of makes a difference, right? Like you obviously want to like save the best team. Usually, you want to save these teams to the last, right? But I guess they're facing them
because I think it can work both ways, right? Because on the one hand, you're like, all right, we know that the final boss is on the Western Conference final side, which is the Golden State Warriors. But then, let's say they do face them in the semis, in the Western Conference semis, and let's say the Rockets win. Like, they have so much confidence and momentum to just take them to win everything.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think you can see both. I think it works both ways.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. Let's go for the last four in the Western Conference playoffs berths. 5th seed Utah Jazz, 6th seed OKC, 7th seed the Spurs. Like that, they're like piece of the furniture, man, in the playoffs. And
that's what I said, man.
Yeah, Clippers. I said they were gonna make the playoffs. Yeah. So the picture changed really quick because like there was one point in the season where the Utah Jazz were like not even in, they were in like the bottom half of the table. Like
Yeah, they made a really like strong run. It was very quiet but very strong run.
Same like last year. It's very same like very similar to last year. But I mean, obviously last year they finished up way high, a bit higher. I think they finished fourth, if I'm not mistaken, third. The Clippers, I think no one expected the Clippers to make it.
I think no one expects the Clippers to make the next round.
Yeah, true. But you have to give it up to them, man. Like, if you think about it, the Clippers made it like after the first half of the season, they were in playoff contention and they traded away more pieces. If I remember from my memory, they traded away more pieces for draft picks, and yet still was able to maintain their spot. They beat the Lakers like twice.
I don't think that's a massive achievement in this day and age.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah, but still, like, this was fresh when LeBron just said, "I'm turning off playoff," turning on playoff mode, and then the Clippers just beat the Lakers straight away. I found that really fun.
Many other teams beat the Lakers as well.
Yeah, true, but not after. You usually don't beat you don't beat a LeBron's team after he turns on playoff mode, unless you have the Warriors. But this year, the Clippers did it. Respect.
So when did LeBron turn on playoff mode in every other year that he's been in the NBA?
When they were actually in the playoffs, when they actually made the playoffs. So he had to turn it on a bit earlier this year, but it just didn't work.
Okay.
That was so funny.
Look, I think in the West, I think the big story is more, or rather, I think a lot of the teams that people at the start of the season thought will make the playoffs have made the playoffs. I think that's fair to say. I think maybe the one surprise might be the Clippers, but that 8th spot, could have gone to any amongst, the
Timberwolves and Lakers.
Yeah, like Minnesota, Lakers, so the 8th spot was always going to be, could have been anyone. In the end, it went to Clippers, but in the end, I think we all know that they're not going to go far.
We know. Can we give a shout out to the Sacramento Kings for finishing ahead of the Lakers? I remember at the start of the season, we're both I think all of us were tipping them to be like the bottom.
Yeah.
If not like second bottom. And they managed to rack up 39 wins.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's sort of like,
who cares? They're like,
it's sort of like a hollow victory, right? Because we did so much better than everyone thought we did, but we still didn't make the playoffs. And now our chances of getting a high draft pick is lower.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like what's the point?
A curse, right? It's like the curse of mediocrity.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's still a great thing. They're like I think that would be a fun team to play on 2K. They have Buddy Hield, De'Aaron Fox, bundles of energy.
I think the biggest disappointment in the West is, obviously it's going to be the Lakers. I think most people expect Lakers to at least make playoffs this season.
Dude,
but I think quietly it was also Minnesota.
Minnesota, but they lost Jimmy.
Yeah, but even at the start of the season when they had Jimmy Butler, like this team was not a bad team. It had like Karl Anthony Towns. Everyone thinks / thought / some still do think that he is a superstar. I'm not so sure about that. Jimmy Butler was a player who, he thought that, this is a guy that can, bring the leadership that this team needs. In the end, it didn't work out. But in the end, even after Jimmy Butler left, right, you think, all right, the Timberwolves now, they should sort of buck up and, they've so-called traded away the quote-unquote cancer in their locker room. They've got rid of a coach, right, that people don't like to play for, which is Tom Thibodeau, right? Like, all right, now if Karl Anthony Towns, if you are this good, if you're as good as people say, right, you have all this potential, right? Show us. And
He did
like
it.
lead
Man.
this team to the playoffs. Like,
Yeah,
get him in number 8. You know,
Man,
it's
he's too
fine.
soft,
But
man.
sure,
He's
like
too
lead this
soft.
team to the playoffs, and he couldn't do
He's
it.
sensitive, dude. I think he's just busy. Every time he's like playing the game, he's just imagining himself like, yo, can't wait to go home and play some PUBG. You know, play some Fortnite with the gang. And also another disappointment I thought was Andrew Wiggins, the man from Toronto. I think like these guys are like, you know, you see like flashes of their talent, but I think they lack the character. You know,
I don't know. I've been sort of down on Andrew Wiggins for the past 2 or 3 years. I've never really thought he was that good, and I think the past 2 or 3 years has sort of really shown that. This year in particular,
Yeah.
I've never really been a massive fan of Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think these guys, these two, like I think this season has shown that both of them are just not the quality which people has built them to be. So yeah, I think you can say Jimmy Butler was right, and he's won. You know, he's won all these battles and the war for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe you could say that. Well, I think the thing is, I think like people still give Towns a chance, right? Because
he's got the size, he can shoot.
Yeah, he's got the size. He can shoot. He can pass. He can dribble. You can see it, like, you know.
Yeah.
And he's still. How old is he? He's not that young. I mean, he's not that old.
Yeah, he's young, man. I think he's around early 20s still. 23 years old, dude. He's a year young. He's a year younger than me.
Yeah, so you know you can see that he has the potential. So, you know, maybe he's a guy that, you know, he's a guy that, you know, a lot of organizations I think would still take a chance on, right? Would still be like, yo, like this guy can still come good. So yeah. Whereas Andrew Wiggins, I think, you know, like I said, over the past 2-3 years, I haven't been a fan of him. So I think his stock is not as high as perhaps it was when he first came into the league.
Yeah, I think he's just ordinary. I think he's not as good as like everyone thinks he was going to be, like, you know, like a superstar, but he's like above average, I would say. But, that doesn't say much. He's not going to be like, oh, it's going to be KT, Andrew Wiggins, and maybe another guy, and they're going to, you know, challenge. No, I don't. I
mean, of course, like expectations for Andrew Wiggins be high because he's a first round pick, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's just still, he's like he likes sort of. All right, so you know you play 2K, right? You can choose the type of player that you are, right? So the type of player that he chooses to be, right, is pure scorer, right? Pure scorer. But the thing is that he's not a very good scorer.
I like the 2K talk, yeah.
So that's a problem. Right?
Yeah.
If look, my game is like I'm a scorer, but I'm not very good at that. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the case for the team. Yeah, I think, shall we go with the predictions?
Yeah, so let's skip Warriors and Clippers because I think that's pretty clear. Rockets and Jazz.
Rockets. 4-1 to the Rockets.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it'd be that close, but I mean, it'd be. I think it'd be closer, but I think Rockets still pull it out. Yeah.
Portland OKC.
Now this one's a tough one.
You go first. I'm still thinking.
Again, I'll go back to what I said at the start of the season. So at the start of the season, I said OKC's season will depend very strongly on Paul George. Right? Their run in this playoffs will also depend very much on Paul George. So I know Paul George has a sort of a reputation for turning it on the playoffs, though.
Yeah. But do you think he's ran out of steam after that, like, you know, like monster run of, like, you know, averaging like 40 points over a stretch of like like 10 games or something.
Well, it's being rested towards the end of the regular season a bit. And also, come the playoffs, like people change their attitudes, right? Like,
People
it becomes a bit more. But then the Blazers have been doing well all season, in my opinion, better than their team is all season, and that's driven primarily by
Dame.
Damian Lillard.
Yeah, Dame. The coldest rapper in the game.
Look, I'll take the Thunder.
I'll take the Thunder. I think it'll be a 7-game series. I think it'll be an exciting one.
I'll take the Thunder, but I don't think it'll be a 7-game series. I think it'll be done in 5 or 6.
Okay. I think it'll be a bit tighter than that because I don't know. I don't think the Thunder has been convincing in the playoffs ever since the Durant left. So,
they haven't had
PG. No, they haven't had a fit PG.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could argue that. Yeah. Denver and Spurs.
As much as it pains me to say, I think Denver will take this.
Easy.
Because I like the Spurs. I like Pop.
Of course, don't you think? I think it's a surprise that they made it through.
I don't think so at all.
You don't think so? I predicted them going through, but mine was they'll make the 8th seed, and then
I remember at the start. I was very strong. Like the Spurs are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I remember Harry was like, they're not good enough.
Yeah. No. I said they'll make the 8th seed. I think, and they made the 7th. It was same. I think it's basically similar to where we like. Where did you put them? Did you put them around same as well, right?
I put them around the same, but I gave them more wins than you guys.
Fair enough. Yeah. I think Denver will pull through, but I think it'll be tight. Maybe 6 games. 6 games, 5 or 6 games.
I think the Spurs could take a game or 2 off Denver, but I think Denver is just
too strong.
Just overall too good.
I agree. Shall we move on to the second round then? Warriors, Rockets.
Yeah, so I think that's the Hollywood, matchup
Western Conference
for the whole Western Conference, right? Yeah. Rockets and Golden State. I think that the reason I'm so keen for this matchup is because I really would like, and I've been saying this since James Harden was going off, right? Like, I really want to see how he does in the playoffs. I really want to see it because I've never seen this before. I've never seen this type of game plan before. And can this player who's been doing it all season, and people said like, oh, James Harden can't sustain this all season. And you know what? He has, right? So can he sustain it in the playoffs? That's another level, right? So
those scoring points will drop with the physical, the refs will let more, let the game be a bit more physical, game slow down a bit more.
And and that's probably true, But the thing is,
he has defied all odds.
For James Harden this season, right? For James Harden this season, he's faced these but XYZ will be a factor, or ABC will be a factor the whole season, right? And for whatever reason, however it is, he's managed to be to maintain this level and this standard the whole season, right? Yeah. So I know there's all these reasons and justifications of why he can't do this in the playoffs, right? Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I don't think they are bad reasons. I think they're good reasons, but I just want to see can he do it? Because I'm not.
Justin, you don't have to go that far. You just have to see what he does in the Utah Jazz game. Is he going to show up? Is he going to blow is he going to get average 30+ points for all those games?
The thing about a Jazz game, it doesn't matter because a Jazz game, right? I think no one really sees the Jazz, and maybe this is foolish based on last season, but no one really sees the Jazz as a real contender. Mm-hmm. No one really sees the Jazz as a real contender.
This is more of seeing James Harden turn up in the playoffs.
It's different. It's different to see James Harden turn up against the Jazz and James Harden turn up against the Warriors. It's different.
True, but I think for me, it's like I need to see him turn up in the playoffs, like assertively, you know?
I think against the Jazz he will, because the Jazz are just, they're just not as good. Like,
We'll see.
They're just not as good.
Yeah. Like, I personally want to see it. Remember, like, there was that game where the Houston Rockets broke the record for the total amount of threes dropped in the game?
Yeah.
27. The number was very funny when I saw the number 27 threes. That was the amount of threes they missed against the Golden State Warriors last season when they in Game 7 of the Western Conference Final. So who knows, man?
Yeah,
That's what happened. It was 27 straight misses. Misses.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. No,
so what?
I think you're on my side in this when it comes to, like, if there was a possibility of seeing Houston Rockets come through from the Western Conference, I think we would both like to see that, right?
I mean, I
think it's unlikely.
For me, I don't really care, like, because I don't really support one team over another.
Yeah, fair enough.
I just want to see it from a pure selfish sort of, more of a fascination, like, can he do it, sort of thing.
Yeah, like, no.
It's like, when you watch like David Blaine and you see like he changed himself in a straitjacket and jumps into a tank of water and stays there for like 10 days, right? Like, you don't really care about David Blaine, but you want to know, like, can he do it? You're just fascinated, like, can he do it?
Yeah.
Right. No, so it's still the same thing.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens.
It's very different. It's very different turning up against the Jazz and against the Warriors. Because I think if Houston beats the Warriors, right, I think we all know that it'll be on the back of James Harden, right? If Houston beats the Warriors. And if Houston beats the Warriors, I think then they have a good chance to win it all.
Yeah, no. I think whoever beats the Warriors wins the series. And not the Warriors will win it. And that's my personal opinion.
Say that again.
Whoever beats the Warriors in the Western Conference will win the NBA Finals championship. Will win it all.
I don't think that's true.
Not the Clippers, but I mean, like, obviously, realistically, right? The people who will face them obviously bar the Clippers, right? So,
I mean, if the Jazz beat the Warriors, I don't think the Jazz are going to win the championship.
Well, it's unlikely that they will even beat the Warriors. I think there's only like.
But you just said whoever beats the Warriors.
Realistically.
I mean, like.
Let's go. Okay, no. We'll talk about this. We'll go through this. Don't worry about it. So let's move on to the second, the bottom, the other four. So in the Portland, So we both predicted that OKC will go through. And we both predict that the Denver Nuggets will go through. So the Trailblazers against the Nuggets, who's going through?
What?
OKC Thunder against Denver Nuggets, who's going through?
All right. I don't know. You go first.
This is tough, man. Okay. You know what? Like this one, like, I'm just gonna go OKC. I think PG-13 will turn up. He'll turn up, and I think the quality of Russ and PG will pull them through against the Denver Nuggets. 7 games.
I think I'd go with the Thunder as well, and again, the main reason for me would be pedigree as well. Just to keep it consistent. I mean, this Nuggets team, I think, is a good team. I tipped them to do very well this season, and they've done it on the back of Nikola Jokic, who has shown how good he is. I thought he showed flashes last year of how good he was. This year, he's really shown that he can be a franchise player. Mm-hmm. And but I think, again, it's the same thing with the Bucks, where they lack some playoff pedigree, and I think that'll be their downfall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that's going to be a tale of the tape. So the finals of the Western Conference Finals will be the Golden State Warriors against the OKC. And I think if that was the case, I think Golden State Warriors will go.
I think Warriors will win them. Yeah, I think Warriors will whoop them. Yeah.
I think OKC will take one game, maybe, if they're lucky, one game. And yeah, I think the NBA Finals will be between the Golden State Warriors and my pick, the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, and for me, it'll be the Warriors and the Sixers.
And who's it? I think I'm going to go with Golden State Warriors winning.
Warriors will win the whole thing.
Yeah. But, yeah. Oh, man.
So no surprises here on zero credibility. No surprises.
I really want to see the Rockets win it all. I think if the Rockets beat the Golden State Warriors in that second round of the playoffs, I think I'll put all my money on them. Like, I'll put a lot of money on them to win the whole thing.
Yeah, because they're beating the team, which I think everyone sort of agrees is the best team, right? So yeah. I would agree with that. If the Rockets can beat the Warriors, I just think that they'll just be on such a high.
Yeah, and I think that's the only team in the Western Conference that can beat. Yeah, only team.
Yeah. Probably.
Only team.
Probably.
Yeah, I think the only team
over a 7-game series, probably. But having said that, I can still see them, like, I can also see them getting, like, the Rockets getting swept like 4-0 by the Warriors.
Yeah, 4-0. James Harden like comes up with 2 from 10.
Yeah. So
true. But you know what? I think we've talked about this, but I really think the Golden State Warriors only real concerns. The only teams that I feel like have a shot. The Houston Rockets from the West, the only team from the West. And in the Eastern Conference, I think the 76ers would give them trouble, and potentially the Raptors would give them trouble. Maybe even the Celtics might give them trouble.
I don't think the Raptors will give them that much trouble. I think the Sixers will give them trouble. I think the Bucks could potentially get in trouble if they make it that far. Yeah. The Celtics, I don't think the Celtics are going to. I think the matchup is that matchup is a good matchup for the match against the Celtics is a good matchup for Golden State. So I don't think the Celtics will get into much trouble.
Mm-hmm. The Raptors beat the Warriors twice this season, so who knows?
Yeah, but the Warriors have also lost a lot of weird games this season. Also, in the regular season, we don't know how seriously these guys will take these games. So. Let's not forget, the Warriors have lost, a lot of games this season. A lot. More than I think people expected them to lose. And they still finished number 1. Yeah.
We'll see, man. I think it's exciting. It's I think this is the first playoff, where you go, there's no real, narrative from LeBron. So it's a more equal playing field in terms of, all these other teams. So it's a bit more interesting. Rather than everyone's focusing on will LeBron make it? Will he meet the Warriors in the final? Now it's more of between the Bucks, Raptors, and Celtics, who's going, and the 76ers, who's going to face, the side, and will Houston finally, be able to overcome the Warriors? I mean, this is all just news narrative to try and make the playoffs more interesting, but we all know that the Warriors are head shoulders above everyone else. But it'll be interesting. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Well, we're running up on an hour, so I think let's spend some time. Give some credit where credit's due for Dwayne Wade and Dirk. Both had great careers. I want to start with Dwayne Wade. What do you think of the news? What do you think of Paul Pierce coming out to say that he's had a better career than Dwayne Wade?
I think that I'm not sure where that comes from. Honestly, do they have some beef previously or something? Where does that come from?
I don't fucking know. He just came out and said it, and I don't think you need to say any more because the Miami Heat played the Brooklyn Nets today, and Brooklyn Nets fans went out to chant, "Paul Pierce, you suck."
I mean,
I think that says everything.
I don't think that's indicative of anything. Paul Pierce is not known as Paul Pierce, the guy who played for the Nets. Paul Pierce is known as he's a Celtics player.
I know he's a Celtics player, but at the end of the day, like Dwayne Wade didn't even play for like the Nets, and you played for the Nets, right? You poor PS, you played for the Nets, and your so-called fans don't even support you. So like, I think that says enough, right? Or if you want to go through the stats, which I don't think we need to.
I mean, I don't think I need to. I'm just wondering, like, where does that come from? Because I didn't know that they had any beef or whatever. But I guess maybe they do.
I don't know if it's beef, but I just
Because
think,
like, where does it, like, how does he just come out and say that, like, say something like that, just seemingly unprovoked, like. Because he said it on the show, like on that one of those, like,
on a talk show,
and he said just sort of like, the question wasn't asked like,
do you
think you had a better career than Dwayne Wade? Yeah, he just came out and said it. So I don't know what I don't know. Maybe he has some beef with Dwayne Wade. I don't know, but I think most people can agree that that's probably not true.
That's I think we're on agreement there. Dirk, do you reckon he's the best European import so far?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably. But I thought that what was funny is that, at all the stadiums that he's went, at all the games that he's played around the NBA this season, he was given like all these tribute videos.
Yep.
People coming up to him. I know at the Clippers game, like Doc Rivers, made an announcement during the game when the game was still going on. For the fans to get up and give a standing ovation to Dirk Nowitzki, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
But did you realize that he never ever announced that he was going to retire until now?
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, true.
So it could have been like before now. Like, there was a possibility he could have come back next year.
Yeah, I think so. No, I think there was.
But he's gone through this whole thing where, like, at every game,
showing
like tribute videos, fans are giving him like standing ovations, all that sort of stuff. Like, it was so surreal.
Yeah, I know. I agree. Yeah, actually, that's so true.
What if he said, "I'm not retiring"? I never said I was going to retire. Like, I never said I was going to retire.
Yeah, because I think like the tribute videos started happening when he said like, "Oh, at this date, I'm going to make the announcement whether I'll continue or not." And then that's when they started to drop these tribute videos.
I think it started much earlier than that. Much earlier than that.
That'd be so fucking funny. Like when it came to this game today, he went like, "Surprise, bitch! I'm coming back next season."
I mean, it was just weird for me that unless he already told the management at the Mavs, "Look, I'm going to retire. I just don't want to make the announcement until later." And then like it just became like pretty much a known thing within the NBA.
Who knows? Yeah, maybe.
But,
I don't know.
But yeah, I just thought it was so weird that he was getting this like farewell tour, much like how D-Wade's doing now.
Yeah,
or much like how D-Wade has.
D-Wade one was like announced early. Yo, this is my last season. So that's why.
So people knew it was his last season.
Yeah,
people did not know that this is Dirk's last season. So I just thought it was kind of funny.
No, imagine like what if it like what if you're like you're thinking of coming back and people are already saying, "Hey man, you had a great career, man. Thanks for playing."
Exactly.
Funny. Like, what if I want to come back? I think he's the best European player who's played in the NBA. I mean, I know very little about the NBA history, so like he's the only one that I know. But in terms of imports, in terms of general imports, not European imports, but general like imports outside of the USA, do you think he's the best?
I don't know if he's the best, but he's definitely, one of the best.
Okay. I just wanted to ask, what do you think, Manu Ginobili or Dirk? I know they're both different players, but like, which one would you rather have?
I mean, I'd rather have Dirk, but
depends on anything. Like, yeah.
Yeah, you're breaking up a lot, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was probably on the internet, but yeah, between Dirk and Manu.
I think if I had the choice, I'd choose Dirk.
Okay.
But honestly, to have either of them would be great. But yeah, if I had a choice, I'd choose Dirk.
Okay. I don't know. I'm just asking because I never really got to see prime Ginobili, and I Yeah, so and he's always so talked highly about. I saw like Dirk in that final against LeBron when they lost. That's where I first saw Dirk, and I was like, oh shit, man, this guy means business. This white guy means business, and he's not just like that fundamental white guy. He's big and he can move. So yeah, and he can shoot. So yeah, it was just interesting. I just wanted to know from your perspective, who's seen the game long, and you've probably seen him throughout his whole career. So it's just interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dirk is one of those players who, I mean, the reason I say I choose him over Manu is just because I like him more, I like his personality more, in the sense that he's more. I mean, he speaks to the media a bit more. He's a bit funny, whereas Manu, I think, is quieter in the public realm. So yeah, it's not anything to do with their skills or whatever.
Fair enough. Right, shall we move on to I think this is the most interesting bit of the talk. I think let's move the Magic Johnson talk to later on, because I think we've been talking about Lakers so much. I just want to take a break from them. Let's talk about the anonymous NBA player polls that was taken by The Athletic, which was done by The Athletic, which got basically they had all these different polls and different questions in terms different awards voted by the NBA players themselves. So let's start with the MVP.
But this was done anonymously.
Yeah, anonymously. Yeah.
Conducted by some random media outlet. So
definitely, yeah. No, but I think this is going to be the best part of the show. So the MVP, I think this was I don't think it was surprising, but James Harden came out on top with 44.3% of the votes, with Giannis coming in second, and Paul George.
I think those are the only real two candidates this season. I would say James Harden as well. I think we spoke about this last time.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's much to say about it, but Yeah.
Yeah.
I picked James Harden as my MVP. It's no surprise to see that his peers choose him as well.
Yeah, straightforward. GOAT, Michael Jordan came up
by far, 73%.
Yeah, then LeBron James with 11.9 and Kobe third. And then let's just give credit where credit's due. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar fourth. Then Magic Johnson, Allen Iverson, and Kevin Durant with a shared 1%. For the top defensive player, Kawhi Leonard came up first with quite overwhelmingly, 30.3% of the votes. Paul George second, and Rudy Gobert third. Do you think? I think I read a good article
Not
about
surprising.
how. Yeah, but don't you? There was an article saying that Rudy Gobert is actually his defensive stats are really underrated. They were talking about how they know Rudy Gobert is so good at the rim, which is why they don't really drive up against him as much. That's what they were saying. I don't know how true that is, because I don't watch enough of the games to really tell. But Rudy Gobert has been a consistent, top 5, top 3 defensive player of the year over the last 3 to 5 years. So, I don't know. Why do you think he doesn't get talked much about? Do you think he's just too one-dimensional as a defensive player? Or
Rudy Gobert gets talked about a lot from a defensive player
perspective. But yeah. But do you think what? Do you actually think Kawhi and Paul George are better defenders? Or
well, they're different, right? And so this is one of those things where it really depends on the sample, right? So these I'm not really clear on how these votes were gathered and who was asked to vote for these categories, right?
Yeah.
Because I think if let's say a majority of people that voted in these categories, right, were guards. Yeah, they're gonna say Kawhi Leonard because they face up with Kawhi Leonard in the front court. Yeah. So they're obviously going to to choose a perimeter defender as the best defensive player because they're the player that they play up against. So it's one of those things where it's something to keep in mind while going through these results because not every player responds. And I think that was I saw somewhere where for certain categories only 50 players responded or something like that. Yeah. So it skews the numbers a lot. So yeah. I mean, but I think regardless, a lot of people see Kawhi Leonard as a great defensive player. You know, whenever he's on the floor, the defensive rating of a team always goes up.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Paul George, like look at the top two. It's Kawhi and Paul George, both perimeters. Rudy Gobert is like a paint protector. Patrick Beverley perimeter. Joe Embiid paint protector. Drew Holiday perimeter. So maybe it could just be the fact that. How is Joel Embiid a perimeter defender?
No, I mean he could, because like you've seen clips, he can take on these small guys as well.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So yeah, like it really depends on like who the respondents are. But again, I don't think to say Kawhi Leonard is the best defensive player in the league. I don't think that's a very controversial thing to say.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I don't think so too. But I just think like, I don't know, Rudy Gobert is always in the mix, and I always hear a few rumblings of them saying that, you know, Rudy Gobert should be first. But like, you know, you picked out a good point that like, I think Harry said this as well, that, you know, perimeter defenders are the, you know, they're kind of the more important defender, right, nowadays, because of the heavy reliance on three, you know, and the game being more small ball minded. You know,
I mean, the game is definitely more centered and more focused around ball handlers rather than the big guys inside. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, so that's why maybe, you know, it's Paul George and Kawhi Leonard in the top two. But anyways, let's move on to the most overrated. I thought, I mean, like, is there any surprise for you? So the results were Draymond Green and Russell Westbrook tied with 17% each. So. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
So I want to talk about this in conjunction with another category, which was, I don't think you've put it down here, but the other category was basically who shit talks the most.
Oh, was there more shit talk?
Yeah, and I think number one was Draymond Green. And number three was Russell Westbrook.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So I think it's very interesting to look at these two categories in conjunction, because it makes sense, right? Yeah. Like, the players that shit talk the most are going to get under other players' skins the most, and so they're not going to like them.
Yeah, true.
So they're going to vote against them. Having said that, you know, I sort of understand why players would think Draymond Green is overrated, especially this season when he's definitely, you know, tailed off from his performance in the past couple of seasons. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Russell Westbrook as well. I can understand an argument why you would say he's overrated, but I'm not sure overrated is the right word to use for him, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, like Russell Westbrook has averaged a triple-double in the past 3 seasons. Mm-hmm. And people are saying he's overrated. Like, no,
I think
maybe overrated is not the right word. You know what I mean?
No, but I think the word overrated in what context? I think the specific context they meant was that those numbers that he produces doesn't reflect his true abilities, which, like, you know, what everyone talks about because of the stat padding he has. And I think maybe Draymond Green, like, I think it's more of like, you know, he's like, you know, he's all-star quality. But then I think they don't, I think the players who play with him, they probably feel that his abilities get blown up because of the quality of talent within his team. And like you said, maybe maybe it's just this season, because he's had quite a, like you could say, he's definitely had a subpar season compared to the last 3-4 years. You know, he's averaged like 7.4 points. His steals are the same like last year, and you know.
No, but you see, for Draymond Green, right, he's one of those guys where like the stats don't tell the whole story, right? Draymond is one of those off stat sheet sort of guys, right? Because what he provides on the court does not start the game. It does not come up on the stat sheet, like, you know, in terms of guarding the pick and roll, or in terms of being involved within the offense, not necessarily as, you know, the assist provider or the or the person that shoots the shot, right? Like in terms of
When you mean assist
operating with
provider, he provides it to the guy who provides the assist.
no, as in the guy. No, as in like he's the guy that gives the assist,
Okay,
right? Like I mean, like for example, right? For example, like
Wait, but you have to admit, like it's easier for him to provide an assist when you have like that amount of great shooters around you. Just pass it to Steph. That's like guaranteed. Like like 4 assists.
Yeah, no, yeah, of course it is. But what I'm saying is that like a lot of the stuff that he does that made him good and that made people think he was good, and I agree that he was good, was because a lot of the stuff he didn't do. I mean, a lot of stuff he did that did not appear on the stat sheet, like setting screens. Like screen set does not appear on the stat sheet.
True.
Right? Like or being the the
primary antagonist.
I'm not sure what the word is, but like the guy that like you pass to, who passes to the guy who provides the assist.
Yeah.
Or just like defending passing lanes so that when the opponent wants to pass the player, like he's there. Right, and you can't pass that guy, so it cuts off that offense, right? Like a lot of these things don't appear on the stat sheet. He's an off stat sheet guy, right? And I think a lot of people who watch the game understand that and recognize his value in that, right? He's never been a big stat guy, right?
Yeah.
He's never been a big stat guy in terms of like he's never going to consistently get you like 30 points a game. That's not him. That's not his game, right?
Yeah, I understand.
But yet people recognize the value in that. So, but I can understand this season why people would say he's overrated.
Yeah. So no, I was just wondering. So if he leaves, leaves the Golden State Warriors, do you think he can be like one of the like any of the teams like leading man?
I'm not sure because he's a sort of guy, right? Like I think nowadays, like these days in this NBA, if you want to give a player like a massive contract and become like you want it to be somewhat of a franchise player or somewhat of a star player on the team.
You need a bucket getter.
Like the fact that Draymond's game is not centered around scoring.
Yeah.
Like
so he's not.
Hurts him in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I see it. But I think
but he operates. I think he operates very well if you, in a system in a team setting where he can facilitate or help the team's offense and their defense.
No, I think that's the key word. He's a facilitator. He's a very good facilitator for a team. No, I think that's the key word. And I want to bring up one more of the most players in the most overrated list. Do you know which one I'm going to bring up?
LeBron?
Yeah, I can tell you who voted for LeBron. Who voted for LeBron to be on that list? The whole Lakers team. Confirmed. The whole Lakers team, and Kyrie Irving sitting in the fifth, like in like at 1% each. That was the whole Celtics team.
Yeah, I mean, like just to put it into context here, just so people know, right? There's also Semi Ojeleye, who is considered the most overrated one.
One of the most.
John Collins, I don't even know who that is.
John Collins plays for Atlanta Hawks.
Most overrated. So
you're supposed to be like the
sometimes you also question like how serious the players took this vote.
Do you feel like these players like just troll each other and just put them in there?
I mean, I think definitely some of the votes are troll votes. Definitely some. Most overrated Brook Lopez, like.
Yeah.
So I think some of them definitely are troll votes for sure.
Do people even rate like Miles Turner and Brook Lopez? I mean, they do, but I'm just saying.
I mean, they rate him, but I don't think they overrate him. So but this Russell Westbrook thing, I don't know, man. I don't know. I wouldn't call it overrated.
I wouldn't call him overrated, but like you can see why, right? Like we brought up these argument points, and we could see why. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you said, like
I'm just gonna say, like people say he's stat pads. People say he's stat pads. Yo, man, like
those 20
how
assists.
How do you stat pad a triple double average for 3 seasons, man?
No, I agree. Like, I mean, you could. Okay, I mean, you can't defend the rebound stuff. I mean, you can like for me, like when it comes to the assist and scoring, I think he's definitely an easy double scorer. But like the stat padding comes within the assist in the rebound realm.
I think. I mean,
How do you think he? So if you don't think you definitely okay. So you think he stat pads, but you don't think he stat pads as much as everyone thinks he does, right? Because that's where I stand.
Like I don't think it's very easy for a point guard to get 10 assists every game.
Yeah, it's not like 2K, right? It's not like 2K.
Even if exactly. Even if you try to do it, like even if you're quote unquote stat padding, like it's not easy to do that every game.
No, I agree with you. But I mean, like that's what I'm trying to say. I think the nuance argument would be, okay, you could say he's stat pad, but he's still a guaranteed double average player, without doubt. And it's only the rebounds where I feel like the stat padding comes in. That's my opinion.
I mean, possibly. I mean, that's probably not possibly, but that's probably it. And I know some people don't like him for they think he's a selfish player, or they think he's not his basketball IQ is not the highest, or they think he takes bad shots, like his shot selection is not good. I can understand that. And if that's your opinion on it, that's fine. I can understand and respect those opinions. But if you say, "Oh, he's bad because he stat pads," that's a bullshit argument.
Oh, that's bullshit. He's good, man. He's a freaking beast. And I think if you say he's a selfish player, I think this year he's been way better. I haven't checked the numbers, but from like checking scores and box scores a lot, I'm pretty sure his assist numbers has gone up this year. I might be wrong. But yeah, do you see that game, that like Nipsey Hussle tribute game where he got like 20 points, 20 assists, and 20 rebounds? That's crazy. But I mean, like then again, it's against the Lakers, but still, those are NBA 2K numbers, man.
Yeah, but he was stat padding.
All right. Okay. I think that's the name of the episode, 2K. Who's the most underrated?
I think this one's a great category.
I love
because I agree with a lot of these.
Same. I think Giroux, Dame.
You can't even say his name.
Dame Lillard, Lillard.
Number one.
Giroux.
It's literally just Drew, man. Like it's literally just Drew Holiday.
Okay, fine. Drew Holiday. My bad. I thought Giroux. Actually, Giroux is kind of a cooler name. No?
Sure.
Mike Conley. These are all the guys that we were talking about at the start of the season for the respective teams. Lou Williams. I love Lou Williams. Sixth man of the year. For sure. Who else is on the list? Oh, Steven Adams. I love this list. I love this list because these are like the list filled with a lot of players who a lot of people like, but they're just like they're just not on the top tier. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm a fan of Drew Holiday and Mike Conley, definitely for sure. I think Damian Lillard. But Damian Lillard is one of those where I don't think he's underrated. I think people that know and watch the NBA know that he's a good player.
Yeah.
And even a great player. So I'm not sure if I would put the term underrated compared to someone like Mike Conley or compared to someone like Drew Holiday, where they are actually, in my opinion, underrated.
Lou Williams? Are they right?
Yeah.
I think Zach LaVine deserves a mention. Spencer Dinwiddie. Joe Harris. This could be
basically like half the Nets team.
Brooklyn Nets. Buddy Hield. There's some popular NBA players that everyone loves. Danny Green.
No, I think Vucevic. I think if you recall at the start of the season, I said I was a big fan of Vucevic, so I was glad to see him make his first All-Star selection this year because that guy is a literal just double machine. I was concerned at the start of the season because they got Ayton, and I said, it's disappointing that the Magic are drafting players in his position because I think he should play. But as it turns out, he has played a lot, which is good news. So he's made All-Star game. I think it's really good. Nikola Vucevic.
Shall we move on to the next topic? Which coach aside from your own would you want to play for? Greg on top. Brad Stevens second, Steve Kerr third, Mike D'Antoni.
No surprise. So it's the winning coaches, right?
Yeah, the winning coach. It's true. I'm trying to look to see whether there are any special ones. Seems like no one wanted to play for Luke Walton. Jeez. So the players hate LeBron and the coach. Nice. Which coach from side played? Yeah, played. Okay, I think this is the last one, and I think this one was a very good question from the Athletic to ask. Where will Kevin Durant be playing next?
63.3% say New York.
Yep.
And
the other meetings, just 20% say that he will stay at the Golden State. He will stay at Golden State Warriors.
Yeah. I mean,
do you think he's going to the Knicks?
I know we had this conversation a few weeks back.
Yeah, I know. We're close. We're close to it. We can make the call. Let's make the call now.
I'll say the call because nothing has changed.
I'm saying he's going to the Knicks. I said it at the start. I'm just keeping that same energy. I just want to let all the fans know. Let the fan know.
I just think that. I still am non-committal because a lot of things
could change. Yeah,
a lot of things can change in this sort of thing, and it can change very quickly. But what I'll say is that I think the Knicks are the number one probable destination if he does leave Golden State. But I think I said that a few weeks ago as well. Anyway,
all right. I think that is it. I think that is it for the show.
Is it for the show or for the NBA?
For the NBA, I think it's for the show.
All right.
Shall we close it off? Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Justin, you want to say your goodbyes?
Bye.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.